you see the political situation too? Because I know you've observed over a period of time what's going on and all that. What do you make of all of this?
I am very worried. That's what I would say really in a nutshell. It's very sad. This is September. Electioneering will start next month, I suppose.
Next week.
September.
Okay, end of September.
Yes,
And we've not had anyone roll out strong vision. So Nigerian politics, number one, is not vision driven, it is tribe driven, it is religion driven. That is so dangerous for several reasons, because the nation has been fractured on those particular fault lines. The diversity of the tribe of Nigeria should have worked for it. It is now working against it. And many don't even realize, particularly the generation that is under 50, don't realize that Nigeria cannot handle another civil war. I was 15 the day Biafra war broke out. And my dad died in that war. Exactly this month of September makes 1967, 55 years that my dad died in Biafra. 55 years. So the people who are under 55 do not know the enormity, the challenge of civil war. And so some of them also who have ended in politics, you can't see an attempt to harmonize. You can't see an attempt to unite. You rather see individual vision, dream, and people who heat up the nation with an attitude like, well, if it breaks up, I have another passport. I can run out. And they do not realize, of all the nations that can experience a refugee status, Nigeria is not one of them. You want to know why?
Why, sir?
We are the only nation which is surrounded by 4 nations on every side, except for the south where you have the sea. And all the nations were surrounded by are small nations. Togo, I beg your pardon, to the left is Benin Republic, which I don't know their population, probably 5-6 million. Niger Republic cannot exceed 10 million. Chad cannot exceed another 3, 4, 5 million. Cameroon cannot exceed another 20, 25, 30 million. If Nigeria were to have an intense war and a refugee status, where do you pour to? You will overwhelm Benin to the west. You will overwhelm Cameroon and Chad to the east. You will overwhelm Niger to the north. Nigeria must not experience a refugee situation. And that is the reason why I am so worried. Firstly, by the very people who are the major players, you do not see an attitude of, okay, if I don't win, that's fine, as long as the nation is united. No, you see an attitude of, I must win, whatever it takes. If I don't win, blood will flow. Anyone who makes a statement like blood will flow should not have even gotten anybody's vote.
So, sir, what would you advise Nigerians and particularly Christians in terms of how to go about the situation, sir?
Christians? Okay, I'm 70, so I have a right to speak my mind, even if somebody doesn't like what I'm going to say. I know what is going on out there, that there's a lot of argument about Muslim.
Yes, sir.
Why is there no Muslim Christian? So whatever view you share, somebody has strong feelings. Let me share my view. Firstly, my view is that if Christians, let me start by saying, there are people who are saying, why are Christians uptight about Muslim? Abiola and, what's his name now?
Tufa.
No, not the man who was his vice. Oh, I can see him, the man from Niger State, the Nupe man.
King
Kingibe. Yeah. Abiola and Kingibe were Muslims. Ladies and gentlemen, Abiola and Kingibe were Muslims at that time. 1991, I think it was.
1993.
1993. 29 years ago, there was no Boko Haram. 29 years ago, 43,000 Christians were not killed by Boko Haram. 29 years ago, there was no carrying away of Christian girls from Chibok and other places, raped, impregnated, and forced to change religion. 29 years ago, the guys who raped, 14 years imprisonment, who committed treason by raising a flag of a caliphate, that is treason, they did not exist then. And then we now have governments that give them blanket forgiveness. A man committed treason and rape, you gave him blanket forgiveness, and then there is no method for tracing to see if he truly repented and if he has stayed away. So 29 years ago, the atmosphere was different from now. So if anybody says that time they had a Muslim ticket, it was different. However, let's look at it another side. The Christians who are offended by a Muslim ticket shouldn't have started their campaign and voicing their opinion the week they were choosing who will be the running mate. They should have started after the last election, and they observed the carrying away of the girls of Chibok. 43,000 people killed. Kaduna State devastated, particularly southern Zaria, because I'm a Zaria boy. Southern Zaria devastated. Every day invaded by Boko Haram bandits who only target southern Zaria and kill Christians. They should have that time called the 20 most major Christian leaders in Nigeria to a retreat. And at that retreat, the 20 should have signed that we do not support PDP, APC, Labour, or any party. But these are the conditions which any party must meet before we would encourage Christians to vote for them. And part of those conditions should be that any party they are going to vote for, even if you put two Muslims together, they don't mind, as long as it is one, very clear in his voice against religious oppression. Only a fool and only a person who is deaf, tone deaf and blind will say there is no leaning to one side in Nigeria in the past 10 to 15 years. Which religion would you say have had more people killed? Which religion would you say have had more girls carried away? Which religion would you say have had people thrown out of their villages, even their king in southern Zaria removed? And another group of people raised their flag in the place. So the Christian leaders calling and saying we don't support Muslim, close to the election, is too late. They should have started a Christian pressure group that did not say it is for one party. It is just saying we like to see a Nigeria where, one, no man is oppressed. Two, people are appointed to office on the basis of merit. On the basis of merit. Three, that we want a president that is not a tribal chief. Tribal chief presidents only take people of their own tribe and put in all positions. Such presidents are tribal chiefs running national systems. Christians should have written that and put it out there. And if we have those 10 or 20 major voices backing it and saying, we are not choosing any party for anyone because it is not right to choose a party for any people. It is not right for any church. For example, I'm president of KICC. If I stand in any KICC platform, say for example here in Nigeria, I will never announce a political party because it is unfair. Somebody in that seat may be, if I announce for example PDP, somebody in the seat may be APC's governorship candidate for somewhere. So Christians should have started their pressure group since 4 years. So honestly, this is my opinion. And like I said, I'm 70 and I have a right to speak my mind. Christians were responding too late and saying, this Muslim group has an agenda. You should have dealt with it from the beginning. I love the Yoruba language. It is limited in its interpretation when it comes to English. The Yorubas will say, Atokere, loloju jijin, ti mekun sun. A man who doesn't know how to cry is based on a story. In every culture, they have one animal they use to tie around stories. So in Yoruba culture, it's the tortoise. The tortoise realized he doesn't know how to cry. And he's going to his parents-in-law's house where they were bereaved. So he started practicing crying from a long way. The Christians should have started their cry immediately after the last election, not a few weeks to the choice of candidates. And then the Yorubas also say, Igi gogoro magumi loju okere latin wo. It's too late. It is very late. And honestly, hypothetically, suppose the Muslim ticket won as president. You have not shown good hand to all parties. You should have shown good hand and said, we're not against you as a person, but we're against anything that does not respect these particular principles. And part of what those Christian leaders should have put together is not only religion. It should also include, we want to see our children employed. We want to see our children properly educated. We want to see our universities well run. We want to see our economy doing well. We want to see a place where our children go to school and the people of a particular geographical location are not preferred. And you put it together. And we had Matthew Kuka there, and we had Baba Deboe there, and we have Bishop Oyedepo there, we have the head of the Anglican Communion there, we have the head of the Methodist Church there, we had the head of the Presbyterian Church there, we had the head of Mountain of Fire there. We had, there are many others I haven't mentioned, and I hope they will understand with due respect. I'm just giving an example. Imagine those voices coming together, 20 of them, and they met in a room and say, hey, this is not about which party you support, but we are just saying, let us put together what we as Christians expect to see in the nation in which we belong. But at the last minute, for you to now be fighting and say Muslim is wrong, it should be Christian, Muslim Christian, or Christian. It is, it's too late. Asho Obama ye. A lady who's walking naked to the market, and you are running with the wrapper to go and meet her when she has already reached the market. Sila.
But sir, do you look forward to 2023 elections?
I've prayed, and all I saw was confusion. And trouble. Then I saw settlement later. My only worry about Nigeria is not 2023. My worry about Nigeria is the next 15 years. I have a right to speak my mind. I repeat again, I'm 70 years old. It will take a miracle for Nigeria to survive as a nation for 15 years. Because all the indices of a pariah nation are beginning to manifest here. Bad economy, bad transport and infrastructure, one-sided educational system, no aspirational vision for people to look forward to, corruption, kleptocracy, all the indices of a pariah nation are already here. And listen, most of the people who are playing the game of our politics have obtained a second passport. When they cause the problem, they plan to run away. And a good number of them have already prepared to ship their family out first. Then they can dress like a woman and cross Benin Republic border. So, two things. Number one, I see confusion concerning the coming election, but eventually a settlement. It is not next year election that is my biggest worry, because after the confusion, there was a settlement. It is, if Nigeria survives 15 years, and let me put a warning down. I'm an Arewa boy, I'm a northern boy more or less, because even though my parents are from the south, I was born in the north. I like to warn politicians of the north in particular by saying, if you create a situation where Nigeria was ungovernable and it fractured to the point of breaking up, the north will have more problems. And if you want to know why, I'll tell you. The Yoruba state is only one language. They will finally create one nation. The Igbo nation is one language. They will finally create one nation. The South, there may be a couple of languages. They are probably at the most 20. The South can sort out themselves. Many people in the South do not realize that there are 280 tribes in the North. And by the deliberate imposition of an oligarch on the rest, 278 are in pain and they are ready for anything. So we need to heal our nation. Everyone needs to be hands-on to see that things work out. I hope I answered.
Yes, sir. So when you look back, sir, did you ever think Nigeria will be where we are today, sir? 2022. If you look back, because I know you've consistently been preaching peace, unity, and all of that, and in the year 2022, we're still where we are. Did you ever occur to you we'll still be at this point?
I think the first answer is to say no, nobody thought it would be like this. The second answer is to say yes, maybe the colonial masters also did not leave us with the capacity to properly govern each other. They created an atmosphere where they imposed a certain tribe over the other, technically, politically. And so that creates problem. But if the people were to understand each other, they could have moved forward. You see, there's a challenge with the people who do not have, one, national pride, two, harmonious view, three, national vision. America has the American dream. The United Kingdom has rule Britannia. It has its vision of oneness. Yeah, there's some degree of challenges there, but they have a degree of oneness. But the problem of Nigeria is the fact that in the past, since the Second Republic of 1979 to now, the tribal difference has been made to be more pronounced in the electioneering, in the processes, in the constitution of Nigeria. And in order to move forward, I do hope the next generation that is rising would rather look for a Nigeria where they want to see a nation that works together irrespective of where you come from. I never thought Nigeria would be in this place. And again, I'm 70, I have a right to speak my mind. Maybe, I don't know if it's the barracks that is influencing my thinking. The very military we thought were corrupt ruled Nigeria better. And if you ask me why, I'll tell you.
Why, sir?
Number one, by the time you are a lieutenant in the Nigerian army, you've been training how to be a leader. By the time you are a captain, you have been sent to Sandhurst to train again in leading 100 people, 1,000 people. By the time you are a major, you've been given 1,000, that's a battalion. By the time you are a colonel, you've been given more than a battalion. By the time you are a brigadier, you've been given a brigade, 5,000. 90% of those who govern our states have never managed a business. And you give them a state to manage. So we need to probably begin to sit down and have more conditions for who runs our states, our nations. There is nobody in Nigeria who was a military governor who had not led 1,000 people, 5,000 people. There is none of those who became heads of state, even if you didn't like their system. Again, I told you, I'm a barrack boy, who had not led maybe more than one brigade or a whole division. That is the reason why, just take Lagos. Most of the landmarks in Lagos were built by the military. Third Mainland Bridge was conceived by them, National Theatre, Murtala International Airport, National Stadium, Federal Secretariat, a lot of the plan system for a lot of places. Even Abuja was a conception of the military. So before you bastardize them. So back to your question. Did I ever expect Nigeria to be like this? No. What is the way out? I think number one, the generation that is screaming and saying they don't think about us should go and get their PVC. Is that what it's called?
Yes, sir.
Number two, don't just get PVC. Join political parties, because being able to vote is not enough. Don't say, I don't want to join. Politics is dirty. You are clean. Go and clean it up. Join political parties. At ward level, begin to speak your voice. Begin to fight corruption at ward level. So let your generation salvage Nigeria, because like it or not, I want you to know this nation must not fail. Because if it fails, many Nigerians don't even realize that doors can be shut against them. At least some people have been having little experience in places like Dubai. A whole group of Nigerians were turned back just after COVID. I must not mention some of the preachers who were on that flight. As they were processing them and telling them to go this way, they didn't know they were sending them back. I must not mention the preachers. That is deportation. And we have not yet experienced the level of challenge that politics can bring. And they are already packaging you for deportation. And people who have major work in Nigeria were sent back to their nation. So let the young people seize the moment. Do all you can. Don't attack anybody who belongs in another party. People have a right to voice their opinion. There's too much. If a person is voting someone you don't like because you heard some rumors, don't make it the reason for you to make him your enemy. Let people express, but get your PVC. Join political parties. Join political parties. Vote your conscience. One shouldn't speak his mind in some things, but I will on one or two. During the last election, I came to Nigeria to stay for election. I don't live here, but I came to stay for the election. It came to the point to vote House of Reps. And no matter of principle, I did not want the person likely to win in my local government So I voted Banky W. I mean, people shouldn't be mentioning who they voted for. But I'm mentioning that one because I felt he's a young man who has achieved, who has done very well, who is very focused. I knew that my vote was wasted that year, but I didn't care because that's my conscience. So get your PVC, join a political party, and begin to work yourself into the system. Don't say the system has been taken over by certain people. Get into it. Take over the system yourself. If we think that a system like NSAS will be what will change, will bring the change in Nigeria, no. You don't have weapons. You don't have anything. And we don't want weapons. We want you to speak your mind by joining political parties.
And sir, if by chance you have the opportunity to sit down with Mr. President to tell him one or two things in terms of how to move us forward, what would be the things you would say to him?
I think he only has 8 months. So maybe I should address the incoming president. And so in my opinion, I think Nigeria should focus on 5 E's. The E of the economy, the E of the environment as in agriculture, the E of, I shall use the word engineering to mean electronic system. We need to move into the smart world where we begin to see things develop. Then the E of education. Look at Nigeria. Today, when you came to interview me, the Nigerian Association of National Students have taken over Murtala Airport Road. They blocked the whole of Ikeja. There is mayhem. Something is wrong with our educational system. And as a result of the corruption in Nigeria, whatever money is supposed to reach the students' education is not reaching them. We need to redefine everything. And even on that, I have my own opinion. So I would say he needs to look at the economy, and what determines the progress of our economy is the indices of economy, not only the oil and gas, the other areas, SME, small and medium enterprises should be encouraged. Forgive me. I think Nigeria focuses on big boy economy, big boy businesses.
Also.
There are some businesses in Nigeria, we give them everything they need. Anything they ask for, we give them. That's not what is done all over the world. If what makes the United Kingdom strong is not boom, British Telecom, boom, British Airways, boom, British Gas, boom, British Petroleum. No, it's the tiny businesses in the nation. No matter how big a large business is, it probably hires 100,000 people. But those small ones, they hire 510. So we need to create systems in the economy that takes care of the microeconomics, the small businesses. Very major, so that trickles down to many more people. Number 2 is the environment, as in, I use E so that it's easily remembered. Environment as in farming. 56% of Nigerian land for farming is not used. 60% of farmable land on earth right now is in Africa, according to Food and Agric Organization. 60% of farmable land on earth is in Africa. You can drive from here to Abuja and you will not find a farm that is 1,000 acres of just pineapples or just cassava. I know you travel a lot. You can never drive in the United Kingdom and see bush. No, it's all farms. It's all farms everywhere. The biggest battle with Ukraine is really based on the fact that Ukraine is actually the feeder of Nigeria and other nations. I don't know if you know that 40% of our wheat for our bread comes from Ukraine. Nigeria is listed among the 10 nations that benefit from Ukraine. Ukraine is the 40% of the wheat that goes to most nations come from Ukraine alone. Can't wheat grow in Nigeria? We don't have the farm. And Mr. President, I don't want to touch some areas. Some people are lying to the presidency. Lying to the presidency. I started 3 farms in Nigeria and got frustrated. Planted the largest cassava farm, 500 acres, in the days of Obasanjo, when they said cassava would be used in bread. And truly, some industries were coming to buy the farina from us. I've started the industry that converted the cassava to farina. And they were coming. The moment Obasanjo administration was out, the next government killed it. So we were left with 500 acres of cassava with no one to buy it. Then I went into rice. My rice farm, I started a rice farm that was the largest Ofada rice farm in Ofada village. I went to the Nigerian Seed Council and they said Ofada rice is not on their list of approved rice for them to buy the seed, because we wanted to just be producing seed for other farmers to plant so that the thing will explode. They said it's not on their list. We ended with 150 acres of Ofada rice seed. It took a long time to sell it. After 2 years, I had to stop. My 3rd farm right now is the only one that is working. I have a 2,000 tree palm tree farm. Imagine if many like me did 2,000 trees, 2,000 trees, 2,000 trees. We will come back and compete with Malaysia that took the seed from us. I don't know if you know, Malaysia took the seed from us. Now they have farms that are just palm tree, 1 million palm trees. So, environment. Number 3 is the engineering/electronics. We are still, forgive my French, we're fighting over cow herders who are invading people's farm. You want to have a cow farm? Put it in a ranch. Nobody does moving around anymore in the world. Keep your cows in your ranch. I've never seen a cow in Lagos, in London. I've never seen a cow in New York. I've never seen a cow in Paris. Let's encourage these people and say, look, do it in a ranch. Let's be an advanced nation, electronics slash so that our young people are encouraged to become such people who are into artificial intelligence. When you came into my house, I put the light on with my phone. That's the world in which we should be, not fighting over cow herders who are taking over a place. Then the education. Mr. Kennedy,
Sir.
there is not one university in the UK that is controlled by government. University is a business. So, in the education area, it is my opinion that there are 3 winners and 3 losers. The students are winning and losing, the lecturers are winning and losing, and the government is winning and losing. Students, they are getting education for cheap, 30,000 naira. But they are also losing because the equipments to teach them with have become obsolete. Lecturers, they are running a university where it seems as if everything is there for them and they'll get their salary so easily. But I think they are losing because we have some of the best lecturers on earth. Let the university become a business so that if I am Matthew Ashimolowo, if I were a lecturer in, what shall we call it, leadership, and I wrote a particular peer-reviewed material on leadership, and my university put it online. If 10,000 people used that material, 80% of what they pay go to the university, 20 comes to me. What do I mean? I was doing an MBA, and things they would write in Harvard, 3 pages, 4 pages. The university where you are will say you go and read this material by that professor. You pay $18. And there were about 10,000 of us reading that material. And 80% went to the university, 20% went to the man who wrote it. Now you calculate. 20% of $18 may be just about $3 times 10,000. It means the person continuously is making money without his salary. But university, and so the government, on the other hand, is still running the university. It ceased during the military. Let the government release the universities. Let the universities run as a business. Let them become competitive. Let them become strong. The lecturers will benefit, the students will benefit, the government will benefit. The government will now take its money and use it to create bursary. Oh, you want to read electronics? We have this money for students in electronic engineering, but you must have 5 O levels, 7 O levels. So the student aspires, he gets the money, so you go and read. No university cannot be sustained with 30,000 naira. The same guys who are blocking our roads, when they were in secondary, their parents paid 2 million. Then they went to university. They're angry that the money is above 30,000 naira. It's not possible. So the government should direct more money into education to help the universities create a bursary system, but let the universities become a business. The government of UK does not own one university. That's why all the universities in the UK are running to Nigeria to look for students, because it's a business. If Oxford does not look for students, it will pack up. If Cambridge does not look for students, you pack up. If Kent University does not look for students, you pack up. So we will continue this ASU strike right now. When it's over now, in 5 years' time, it will come up again, because another government will not want to increase salary again. Whereas the lecturers, they are fantastic people. These people have struggled. Some of them, it took forever to get their PhD. They work so hard. Let us create a system where the university is a business. As you are lecturing, you are getting your salary, and also for any material you produce, the university puts it on e-library. If I access it, I pay. Some of it comes to you. I think that will help in the education. I don't know if I've answered. So I
love